Ladies and gentlemen of the West Coast Podcast, thank you for joining us for this very special video. Out of E3, we are absolutely excited to be able to interview Victor Burgos, creator of Burgos Games, and Neko Ghost Jump, a game that I am personally excited for. Let's just get straight into it. Knock, Zach, are you guys ready for this?
Ready for it, man. Glad to be doing this with Victor Burgos.
All right. Victor, how you doing, man?
It's great. Tired, but hanging in there.
Off the bat, man, congratulations for winning Best Indie Trailer. That is absolutely crazy. That's amazing. That's a huge, award. How do you come into E3 with jitters? Are you like, or did you come in knowing like I'm gonna win this award? This is easy. I'm about to take everything they got.
No, to be honest, that was a surprise win. I mean, we won pretty. I mean, it's like at least 10 to 12% was the second place. That was how far off it was. It wasn't even close. It was really a surprise. I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of great games that were showcased during that indie game showcase. And so for us to win, it's like, well, first off, it's good. It's a nice sense of validation of what we're working on. Yeah, it was a surprise win. I'm very thankful for the E3 viewer community and those that voted. Obviously, there were some great trailers out there, and it was really, I'm very grateful and humble and thankful for that win, and just hopeful that we just continue seeing the support, which for the most part I've mainly been on Twitter, but I've seen a lot of good support on Twitter. I've been trying to interact with a whole bunch of people on Twitter as much as possible. But yeah, it's been a good ride since winning that Indie Showcase Trailer Award.
Very nice. I can clearly see why you won, because I'm watching that trailer. I was very hyped for it. Even before I emailed you, after I saw the trailer, I went to go get that demo, and I have to tell you, that demo is awesome. I've never been more stressed out by flowers than playing that demo of yours. So I'm going to jump to the first question, and then I'll pass on to Knock and Zach. After playing that first level, do you have what can you tell us about the next levels that we didn't get to see in the demo? Like, what can you give us some teasers?
Sure. I mean, so first off, that demo on Steam is a little bit outdated. Like we talked about before we started recording, I'm actually in the middle of a move. I had my closing date for a couple months now, and E3 ended up pushing up their date. So it just happened to coincide with my move, and so it's been a little crazy, trying to move in and getting everything all ready for E3. And sadly, one of the things that kind of fell through was getting the updated demo to fans on Steam. Like right now in that current demo that's out there, you get the fast switch transition. But in the new updated demo that we're going to get pushed pretty soon, but as soon as possible, it's the stuff that you see in the trailer where that a smooth camera transition. That's going to be, at least for now, right, it will be. It's going to be the default way to transition. It can be like a little cinematic, smooth transition. But we're still going to keep the fast switch transition for speedrunners. And for those that maybe get a little nauseous or, it's whatever. You can pick however you want to switch between 2D and 3D. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there that demo on Steam's a little old. As far as what we can expect after the first biome, there's going to be new enemies, new hazards, new, custom levels, and obviously there's going to be a boss, right? A new boss for each biome. So it gets a little bit more difficult as you progress, which currently it's actually pretty unbalanced. But we're in the process of balancing the game right now, trying to get everything as a nice smooth curve for difficulty. But yeah, I mean, one of our pride of joys there is the pirate ship island, which is the very last one. And it's come together really nice. I mean, we got a couple of mini bosses in there, plus the final boss. It's coming along really nice, and I just can't wait to get the game to the hands of all the fans.
Very nice. Well, I'll go ahead and transition it over to the final boss of this channel. Knock, do you have a question?
Yeah, you're selling me there. And instantly when I saw your trailer, what separated me, because there's some heavy hitters on E3 with the indies. Like, they were coming strong. And what separated your game from me was, I could tell right now my girlfriend's going to love this game. So we're always looking for couple games. What was like your, what were you trying to target here? What was your design here? And are you going to look at any type of like multiplayer in the future or anything like that?
So first off, the game actually ended up coming into existence because of a big game jam, right? So back in May 2019, Epic Games did an Unreal Jam this spring, and so like I gathered a whole group of people. It was like 5 of us. We did this game jam submission, which is actually on itch. If anybody wants to jump on there and Google it, like a Ghost Jump Game Jam version or Game Jam edition, I think that's what it is. And you could you play it, you could tell how janky that thing is. Like the controls are all janky. But you know, it's a game jam, a 5-day game jam. You know, you can only do so much in 5 days. So the theme was other side of the coin. So the premise, what I was thinking of like things that were similar but different, or maybe like things that were connected but opposite of each other. So like in a video game or a platformer, you're typically in one or two views, right? You're either a 2D platform or a 3D platformer. You're typically not both. Yes, you got things like Super Paper Mario, Fez. Fez kind of not really, but Super Paper Mario and like Crush 3D. I'll include Fez for now, but you know, those games have different ways of like changing up the perspective in the world, right? So you can change. Like I said, it kind of Fez is kind of a little different because you don't really change the view. You're always typically in 2D. It's just a different side of 2D. And we get compared a lot though to Super Paper Mario, which it's perfectly fine. It's not like it's definitely not like a rip-off of Super Paper Mario. The only like similarity to Super Paper Mario is the camera change between 2D and 3D. But like other than that, it's like completely different game. Yes, it's a platformer, I guess. A lot of people say Cat Mario too. It's just funny. If people want to compare us to Super Paper Mario or call the game Cat Mario or whatever, hey, that's fine for us. You know, that's an honor really to be compared to a AAA games or studio's game. But yeah, other than the camera switching though, there's very little that has to do with Super Paper Mario or anything like that. I intentionally went with the cute aesthetic. I thought that at the time, cute stuff was in style. I don't think it still is. Target audience, honestly, it's like all over the place. I mean, you got kids from 7, 8 playing it till grandparents in their 70s and 80s actually playing it and enjoying it. We demoed it before COVID, obviously. But we had demoed it on DreamHack in Atlanta, Anaheim, and then PAX South and PAX East, all before COVID. And yeah, the demographics who sat down and actually played it and gave us feedback and enjoyed it was all over the place. So I thought we had a good general, marketable game by that time.
Nice.
As far as multiplayer, so I'm trying to remember all the questions, but multiplayer. No, sadly, it was super briefly, thought about early on in development. But honestly, when you add multiplayer to a game, and you don't have like a real dedicated network team or a big enough team, it's you're saying you're tripling, quadrupling development time for very little games, honestly. Unless you have like a games as a service or a huge fan base following you, Usually, especially indie multiplayer games are dead in the water, but even some AAA games, you know some AAA multiplayer games that have arrived, dead. So it's multiplayer is a little tricky thing, and a lot of people enjoy single player games still, for the most part.
Yeah. And then right before we get to you, Zach, actually, since Knock wants to mention the aspect of playing with somebody else, you do have the scoreboard function where you could always see your score, see your speed, how it compares to other players in the world. So real quick before we get into that, I have to ask, which type of gamer are you? Are you the speed runner? Are you the competitive type, or are you the completionist? Because I know I'm going to have to go back and play every level again to get every coin, because I was torn between speedrun or get those coins.
Yeah, as far as what type I am, I guess it depends on the game. I mean, obviously if you're playing like a Lego game, I feel like you kind of have to be a completionist. But maybe a different game obviously like speedrunners, but also like what was the game I was just playing with the kids? I don't remember what game we were playing. But anyways, I think it was speedrunners actually. I don't know. It just kind of depends. That's one of the things, and I'm glad you brought up the leaderboards. That is like our main competitive look to the game. So for those that want to be speedrunning and try to top the leaderboards, it gives them a little bit of replayability and sense of urgency and sense of just trying to compete and try to compete against their friends, family, other people, random people all over the world. Trying to just give them something. The whole completionist thing is also because we didn't really touch it. I didn't talk about the paw system, right? So in every level, there are 3 paws you can get. One's the speedrun paw, so you have to beat the level in a certain amount of time. The second one's the completionist paw, and it's called coin paw. But basically, you just have to collect all the coins in the level. And then the third one's the enemy paw, which is you defeat all the enemies. And I kind of, I don't know. It felt like I wanted to do a lot of random things. I kind of wanted to experiment, and it just kind of came out into the way it is now. I kind of wanted it so that people could play the game in really any way they wanted, right? So if they just wanted to take their sweet time and explore and just take times on jumps, they didn't have to feel it necessary. I'm definitely not going to get the speedrun paw, but can I progress through the biome or not? I didn't want them to feel that way, so they have 2 other choices, right? You can complete and then hack your way to get some paws for the levels.
Very nice. I'm going to pass it over to you, Zach. You got any questions for him?
Yeah, so Victor, you said with Nico Ghost Jump that you wanted the cute aesthetic. What was the process to actually creating the main character? And then, we'll see final bosses and other bosses throughout the game and throughout the levels. What is the creative process that goes into making the characters and how they're going to relate to the main character? And also, where did you get the meow noise from?
So first actually the main character, so I guess I have to go back a little bit to the Game Jam edition. So the Game Jam, that Game Jam was specifically, there was I forgot what it was called, but there was a modifier, and that modifier was, you can use any kind of marketplace assets you wanted to. So basically, to make things simple, we just use a whole bunch of marketplace assets. As time went on, though, there's a whole bunch of comparisons. There's a whole bunch of games that have different marketplace characters. But we really kind of liked the way that, for the most part, how the original character, Neko Man, which terrible name. So Neko Man, how he did it. So instead of 100% redoing our character, which we had concepted out, it kind of ended up, the concept ended up being more furry kind of, and not against furries, but it was just kind of really, the character is just not exactly very cute, not exactly the way I wanted it. And so instead, we just basically remodeled them with more of an egg shape. We gave them a longer tail. We gave them like fingers and feet. So the base model actually came from a marketplace thing, but we ended up just like making them a little bit more presentable and cuter, I guess.
Yeah.
And so all the bosses though are like handmade. And so a lot of the enemies too, probably 98% of the enemies before release, maybe 100%. It's one of those things where it's like little by little as development went on, we started replacing a lot of the old assets with like new custom made ones. And so it's a process. It just takes a while. There's a million other things that need to get done. The meow noise, that's actually me. Meow.
Oh.
It's actually me. Yeah, there's a couple of me in there. I don't know if you had a chance to hear Milk Overdrive, but there's like a little Milk Overdrive. I took my voice and then fine tuned it in Audacity and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of random stuff. There's a whole bunch of random voices in there. That helps me out with some of the sounds and music. He's great. He's been great. So he's been doing a lot of remixing stuff also. And what else? I think I answered the question, right? Did I miss something?
Yeah.
You did.
Oh, that was good.
You're knocking out the
As long as
park.
you answered the meow noise, that was good.
Yeah, Zach's always looking for a good meow noise. Before I pass it to Nock for our final round of questions, I do want to compliment you on the sound design. One thing that I instantly love that you took the time for was as soon as you go into your ghost form, the music changes a bit. It's a different atmosphere, different mood. So I'm not going to steal Nock's turn. I just want to say I'm very impressed with just how you're able to capture so many different aspects of this game uniquely. So that's just me giving you that rub. Nock, go ahead and have your question.
You kind of touched on it before with the multiplayer aspect. So I don't think people realize how difficult it is to make a game. You're a former Marine, and thank you, really truly, for your service. And with that, and then with game development, going through all that process, how do you pick an engine to work with, and what is that process like? And then what do you think about games as services now, and how that's been kind of using indies and putting them on their service, not games as service, like Game Pass, PS Now, stuff like that, or PS Plus? If you hope to see your game there.
I already got denied by Game Pass actually, but they did ask me to resubmit. So I think I might have a better chance, especially after E3.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
We'll see. We'll see. But I was kind of annoyed when they denied me the first time. But I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just present better. I get so. I'm going off a little tangent here, but like actual development, like programming, art, music, whatever, a design for video games is like, I don't know, like 25% of the battle. Like 50% of it is marketing. The other 25% is like funding, right? I mean, maybe those percentages are a little off, but I'll be straight up honest. Like the business side of development has like torn me literally in half between development and just getting the word out, marketing, PR, spending money, trying to find money, and it's like it's definitely crazy. And so that's what I was going to say. With my little tangent was that presentations, like doing pitch decks and stuff like that, can be very hard, especially for a first-time company. You're kind of fighting an uphill battle first off because nobody knows you, right? So like they're not going to take a chance. So you have to present them like you have to wow them somehow out of the gate. But there's like no one that really teaches. I mean, so I take this as a grain of salt. I mean, there are some business services, or game development business services that do offer help and whatever. to like, hey, develop your business plan or pitch decks and stuff like that. But I mean, as a whole though, there's nobody that's out there like, hey, this is how you do a pitch deck. This is how you present to like, hey, this is how you present to like Xbox Game Pass, whatever. This is a sure way. And honestly, there wouldn't technically be like a template anyway, because Game Pass just depends. Like, you know, they announced all those freaking games recently on their showcase, but you know, I mean, a lot of it was Bethesda games. But like, you know, so every like, I don't know, they're not like seasons, but every time they announce stuff, it's usually like kind of themed. So maybe when I did it, they were tired of platformers or whatever. So I mean, you know what I'm saying. But I did see some other game that was a platformer that did make it, so I was kind of annoyed. That's the only reason I was a little annoyed. But so things like that is just kind of crazy, because there's a lot of stuff that is not just making games. And so you touched upon it. You know, I was a Marine, so I was a Marine for 12 years. You know, I always wanted to do something with computers, and eventually I figured I want to do something with video games, and I started programming at a pretty young age. And but I enlisted actually after 9/11. I was trying to do my part, and when I was in Japan, my like love for video games like came back, right? along with manga and anime, right? Like,
of course,
my whole my culture is like, oh yes, it's back. And so this was back in like 2002. I'm a little old, but 2002 there was I don't know, some of you might remember these fools. Westwood College Online, they used to have this funny commercial about like playtesting, trying to get into video games. You want to be a playtester. Anyways, there's like this really thing. It's a really funny like TV ad. And so I ended up applying for them, and I was about to actually start my game development I guess career, but I was still in the military. But my education. But then I got deployed to Kuwait for Operation Iraqi Freedom at that time, and to support all those folks over in Iraq. So I was out there for about 3-4 months, and you know, actually I can't do it. You know, I'm just busy doing what I got to do over there. Yeah. And then I came back, and you know, so it's kind of, I don't know, it just kind of fizzled out a little bit. Eventually, I came back to the States. I was like, I want to get back into education, and for some stupid reason, I decided to go get a computer engineering degree, which I did end up getting the degree, but obviously it's useless because I don't use it. But I won't say it's like totally useless. There were some like programming classes, I guess. But I mean, yeah. So I ended up doing that, and 12 years, got out. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do some video game stuff now. Ended up going to Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia, and great school. You know, it just depends on what you're looking for exactly. I'm not entirely too sure it was right for me because I was kind of more programming / design focused, and it's an art school obviously, so they are more art focused. I learned a lot though. Let me tell you, I do not know what my artistic skills could be had I given them some attention. I like that side. I don't do art that much anymore, so it's kind of like whatever. If you don't use it, you lose it. So, but it's cool. Whatever. I graduated, but before I even graduated, I was already working in the industry and freelancing for different companies. And my engine of choice, which is one of your questions, was Unreal Engine 4. So Unreal Engine 4 at the time. So it was like very briefly, when I was starting out, it was like a subscription service, like $20 a month, whatever. But then eventually it went free or whatever, and it basically took off after that. I think it's an excellent engine. Especially Blueprints. Oof, like you don't want to do any kind of C++, C#, Java, or I guess Lua or. What else is that engine big out there? I don't know. Whatever. Any kind of random freaking programming language out there for game engines, then yeah, like Blueprints, it's money. Definitely money for those non-programmer types. And so yeah, I graduated and went full time freelancing. Eventually I ended up getting like a a full-time gig with Monochrome Games, working on Contagion VR Outbreak. I ended up launching their demo and then eventually their early access game. And then after that, I got tired of working for other people and I wanted to work for myself. So I I founded Burgos Games, and then I was working actually on a VR project. Then that kind of I don't know, it fizzled out. I was kind of bored, and then that game jam happened with Nico Goes Jump. I was like, yo, which one of you guys want to stick around with me and get this game out in a year? I think we can do it. Let's do it. But only 2 other people actually from that original game jam team have stuck around. But yeah, obviously that was 2019. I don't know if you remember that, but it definitely did not happen within a year. So last year we did the Kickstarter because I was like, all right, well, shoot, I need money. I mean, I can't keep working on this full time without money. So Kickstarter, we did a Kickstarter. We got like 20,000. Oh, it was way less than 20, but that's the public number, 20,000. And so yeah, but that only takes up, that only gives you so much money. It only lasts so long. Ended up getting a Epic Merit Grant earlier this year, which definitely helped out for sure, to help us, get us closer to release anyway. And I don't know, I think I just went through the whole life story there. Oh, multiplayer. So I mean, I already talked about it earlier that, it was like very, very small thought about getting multiplayer in the game earlier on. But, if the game does well enough, I'm very open to having some kind of like decent multiplayer, like well thought out, because it's kind of pointless now to do because I hate when companies do that. They put something in as an afterthought without fully integrating into the game, and it's kind of like, and it feels like an afterthought. So like no one ever plays it anyway. No. So like if the game does well enough and people really enjoy it, like they really enjoy the speedrun aspect, and they really want to see multiplayer, then hey, we can have a spin-off or something like that. But I mean, we're talking about it's got to be really good, right, for us to do this. So yeah, I mean,
I like that. All right, just 2 more, and then we'll have you out of here. Zach, take it away.
How would you define, just quickly, the indie gaming scene for creators? And really, really quickly, what sold you on your home? I'm at that age where I'm looking. Was it location? Do you have a man cave or something? Do you have awesome crown molding? What made you buy your house?
Those like 2 completely different questions. All right, remind me of the second one because I'll probably forget. But the first one was the indie game scene as a creator, as a game dev creator or influencer creator. Like, what do you mean by that? Like as a developer?
Yeah, as a developer.
It sucks. It's terrible. Like, it's super bad. So
is it lonely? Is there not too much communication, or?
So it's a lot of things. So the number one issue with the indie game scene right now, which I think is an issue for consumers also, is there's just a crap ton of indie games coming out. I mean, like since Steam Direct opened up the floodgates back in 2016, maybe 17, whenever that happened. I think that happened in 16. I don't know when it happened. Yeah, so Steam Direct happened in 2016. I can't believe it's been freaking 5 years. But if you've seen any of those charts recently, I mean, it's like flood. I mean, we're talking about like now it's like 100, 200 a day new games.
Yeah.
But first off, like no one's got time to play all those games, right? 1. Number 2, no one's heard of like 99.9% of these games. And so this is the issue is there's so many games out there. There's too much noise, and especially after COVID happened, everyone's presence has been online, and so it's really hard to break through those ceilings, those barriers, right? Because it's just so much noise. So the more and well-established studios are the ones that will continue doing well, and then the ones that have money funding that can afford, good PR, marketing spend, they will do pretty well. They will do well enough. Just depends on how much they spend. And the ones that get super lucky, and this is the thing that you can't really count on though, and they go like super viral, like on Imgur, I think it's Imgur, whatever. Imgur, whatever the heck that thing is called, IMGUR. And then, on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, it doesn't matter, Reddit, especially Reddit. Reddit's pretty good when you go viral. But, unless you go super viral, and even if you go super viral, it's not like a guarantee, but it's definitely pretty much closer. It's super tough to get visibility. I mean, you don't want to know how much I've spent on marketing for this game, and I'm hoping when we release, it was worth it. There's a lot of money to recoup here, but honestly, it's just really tough for indies. It's just there's too many games. There's not enough outlets, like even like big tier 1, 2 outlets like PC Gamer, IGN, Kotaku, whatever. There's Eurogamer, US Gamer, all that stuff. Those companies, like, they really talk about indies every once in a while, like Wholesome Games, which whatever. But Wholesome Games, or some other stuff like they'll talk about like Guerrilla Collective, whatever. But man, not one of these fools talked about E3 Indie Showcase. I was super disappointed. I was so disappointed. Not one of them talked about the showcase. And I'm like, well, I did hear back from one person on IGN, but they supposedly didn't know about it. Like, didn't get like a press brief or whatever for the indie showcase like they got for the Xbox showcase and everything like that, which that kind of sucked. So I don't know. Maybe indies got done dirty. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, a lot of people like online, from what I've read, and they sent messages to me, said that like if it wasn't for the indie showcase, like Day 3 would have been like a loss, or indie showcase probably the best thing since the whole E3. I mean, of course everyone now is saying, oh, if it wasn't for Nintendo, the whole E2 would have been bad. but it's okay. I don't mind being number 2. It's cool. But But what I mean? Like, it's just incredible. Like, these big media outlets, they don't talk about indies, and then they wonder why indies do bad, or they can't. They just die off. Right. Or why AAA is so stagnant. AAA is not going to do crap because they already have all that power. They have all that marketing spend. They have that fan base. They got the big budget stuff like that. And so, and consumers buy their games. It doesn't matter if it's the same freaking thing, but it reskinned every year. They'll still buy a stupid game. So so obviously it doesn't matter. If really, and again, if no attention is given to indies, but the attention is given to AAA, then what AAA ain't gonna do crap. Like there's no reason for AAA to change their ways if the attention to indies is not there. So like I said, so basically this whole tangent was basically number 1 was visibility for indies just sucks, and so like I'm not saying that no one should try their hand at indie game development, because I think it's cool. You might have like this crazy phenomenal idea, and again you might go viral, but at the same time you must realize that you have just as likely chance, it's 50-50 chance, or I won't say 50-50 chance, you got 32% chance. So 32% chance to go viral, 33% chance to be, I guess, normal. You're playing the long run game. Basically, long run game now is basically anywhere like 5 to 10 year mark. You're trying to churn out like anywhere between 5 to 10 games, before 10 years, to basically build up that fan base and then be decent, seeing returns. But then, the other 32% is basically complete failure, and, you just give up or whatever. And so, yeah, it's bad. Someone said something about loneliness. Yeah, but there's a lot of people that talk enough smack online that they keep me busy.
Oh, man.
They keep me
Let
busy.
them know.
There's enough people out there that like to give their opinions, which I'm perfectly fine with that. I can see how it can get super lonely, especially if you're super solo. So Burroughs Games, yes, technically Burroughs Games is a solo dev company, and yes, I'm the only founder and creative director, and I'm the only one working full time. But I do have a part-time team. Yes, they only work 10 hours, maybe 5 hours a week. Every once in a while, sometimes they don't work at all. But it's if I need stuff done and I'm not feeling up to it, or I can't do it for XYZ reason, I can get somebody out there to help me out. The definition of solo dev is kind of jank nowadays anyway, because even super big games that have said that they're solo devs are not truly solo. What's that dude's name? I can't remember the dude's name. He did that Stardew Valley. I think Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
He wasn't really solo, man. He didn't do his sound effects and music. Well, I don't know about sound effects. He definitely did do his music, and I think he definitely because he definitely needed a team for multiplayer. I remember that. So it's one of those things where it's one of those things that's kind of weirdly defined nowadays. Solo development. Same thing for indie development too, because I don't want to consider Stardew Valley, and not against Stardew Valley. I think it's a great game, whatever. But it being indie, not indie, man. They got published by freaking Chucklefish, if I remember correctly. And so that's once you're a publisher, you're no longer indie. That's kind of the one thing. What's another thing that I don't like about the indie game development right now community is all these so-called indies. That has the big ass publishers. Look at Devolver Digital with what's that? That's crazy. Oh, Loop Hero. And again, nothing against that game, right? It's a phenomenal game, and all that. But I don't want to consider that indie anymore. Devolver Digital, if you get signed on with Devolver Digital, you're 9 times out of 10. I don't know. I can't think of any kind of recent flop, but 9 times out of 10. You're going to make some money off that game, right?
Right.
Because, and so and that's what the publisher's there for. And so, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things I wish somebody would redefine what it means to be indie.
Yep.
But, it is what
it's here in Hollywood, people claim to be independent filmmakers and they have $20 million budgets.
Right. That's another, that's another problem. Yeah. That's cause technically you could say Epic Games is indie, but because they make their own the games like Fortnite or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. They have
some people
billions of dollars, so is it really indie? I don't know. It's not really indie. They got 1,000 developers. There's no way.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's crazy. Some people even say The Witcher 3 is an indie game. I hear that nonsense. Come on.
Well, yeah. Witcher 1? Yeah. Maybe. Yes. I don't know. I don't remember if CD. Yeah, I don't know if they did anything before Witcher. I can't remember if they. All I remember them, Project Red, is from Witcher. So if they didn't do, and then Cyberpunk. But before Witcher, I don't know if they did anything. But yeah, after Witcher 1. They were a household name to me, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I usually like to end these I hopefully want to end these interviews in the future by asking for insight for anyone who wants to get into the field. But honestly, you gave such an in-depth look into your career that I think anyone who might be curious just got a very great answer. So thank you for that. We are going to go ahead and wrap this up. We know you've got a busy schedule. Again, congratulations on winning that award. You totally deserve it. Great game. Do you have any social media, any YouTube channel you want to go ahead and plug out there? for anybody to check out?
Yeah. YouTube. Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube. We're pretty lonely on there. It's like only 115. YouTube.com/Burgos Games, and then actually Burgos Games is on our Twitter. It's on Twitch also, Instagram, Facebook. We're also on TikTok, which I'm still trying to take off our TikTok. It's kind of TikTok's a little weird, but TikTok you can see Burgos.games. Someone stole Burgos Games, so I had to do a period in between Burgos and Games. But whatever. Obviously, Neko Goes Jump, man. Go, at Neko Goes Jump anywhere, like on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have a subreddit, but that's like so poorly maintained. I'm like terrible at Reddit. I'm in general, I think I'm pretty terrible at social media, but I do what I can. But our biggest thing is wishlist on Steam or even Epic Game Store. For sure, if everyone can throw us a wishlist and follow on our Steam page or on Epic Game Store, greatly appreciate that.
Very nice. Yeah, make sure you guys do it. We'll put the link in the description for the social media and the YouTube channel. Please check out Neko Goes Jump. This game is fantastic. I haven't even mentioned all that I love about it. 2 and 3D camera perspectives. Switch between physical and ghost forms to solve puzzles, combat enemies, and clear levels faster. That description was so good, I just took it off his description, his official description. That's how good it is. He's clear, he's concise, he has a goal. So check out this game. He worked very hard on this. Victor, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Great evening. Take care.
Alrighty.